Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Self-love through freedom and connection. So feel free to connect to the Brave Never Fall on these social media platforms. If you find anything of value in this following podcast, hit that like button, subscribe and share, and support the Brave and Bold tribe, growing one purposeful soul at a time. There are no coincidences in life. The strength you have is real. Each breath you take is a blessing. Don't give up, give more. Believe in yourself and trust yourself. How are you feeling? Take a moment to do a self-check-in for yourself. How are you feeling mentally? How are you feeling emotionally? How are you feeling physically? How are you feeling spiritually? Are you feeling balanced? Are you still journeying on an intentional, purposeful path? How are you feeling? Balancing yourself is a healthy daily practice that will reliably keep you in harmony with your entire mind, body, heart, and soul. Clear your mind. Take a moment of silence for yourself right now in the moment. You are here now. How are you feeling? We are all born with charisma. We just have to let it shine. Of course, we're all born with some level of charisma, personality, unique traits that are specific to us, obviously given to us by our parents, our grandparents, our lineage, our bloodline. We're inheriting a lot of different things. We're born with things out of our control. And we're forced, whether we like it or not, to either accept those traits or do the best we can with those traits in a positive direction. But we're all born with a certain level of charisma. We're all born with a blank canvas. Unfortunately, that canvas is filled up with people who influence us when we're younger. Through our parents, our teachers, all of the people who are mentors to us, who counsel us, who give us advice. We're influenced by television, what we see, people's actions, their inactions. We're all influenced by that. And it all plays a huge part in our charisma and how we move forward. But what it comes down to is perception and the choice. We can take in information, but what we do with that information is what makes us unique. It makes our storyline unique, despite all the outside influences that come in that dictate how we have to respond each day, which are completely out of our control. But what makes for good charisma is, how do we react? How do we respond? What is our base level morals and disciplines and principles? What is our purpose? Those things is what builds a healthy, positive charisma. Those things is when you see a person with charisma, they're charismatic, you know this just by how they act in certain situations. You can tell they shine. They have tapped in to the best parts of themselves. And because we can't control everything, that is one thing we can control. Charisma, a compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire devotion in others, a power or talent. We were all born mystery boxes, a vessel of unlocked doors and potential. Who we will become, who we will meet, who we create happiness with, who we will fail with, is all an unknown void. That void can and will be filled in by our decisions, our successes, our failures, our experiences, our discipline, our morals, and our purpose. That void will also be filled in by what and who we cannot control. How we respond and react to these people, places and things, situations and experiences all play a vital part in filling in that void. Despite all that noise and potential chaos, we have a secret power: choice. We can choose how we perceive situations, relationships, outcomes, and experiences by choosing to be positive and live only by the terms, foundations, and boundaries that give us purpose. Those choices, based on positive foundations and morals, all contribute to tapping into and cultivating our charisma, which is unique to each and every one of us. It's what makes us shine, gives light to our unique personalities. Our charisma, or lack thereof, can either align us with what we want or push us away from what we desire. It can aid us in our purpose or position a dark cloud over it. It really is as simple as a choice or a multitude of choices. It is all about who we really are, fully and genuinely. To be appreciated as someone with positive charisma, there is no room for fakeness, selfishness, negativity, manipulation, greed, or hypocrisy. Those with positive charisma resist drama and poor communication. They are disciplined, focused, and understanding. They answer the call when they are needed with no excuses for themselves or others. They know who they are genuinely. They embrace it, share it, lead with it, and trust themselves with it. Those with charisma, positive, healthy, genuine charisma, will always shine the brightest. Cincinnatus, Episode 4, Charisma. As I said in the opener, the beginnings of each of our lives, every single one of us, all of us, we don't have any memories of what our personality was like as a child. Early on. Not 4 or 5 years old. We're talking early on. Newborn, 1-year-old, toddler. And somewhere along the way, we start developing a personality. Somewhere along the way, we start influencing, we're influenced by others that we're surrounded with and family members. And we've talked about this before on the Brave Never Fall and other podcasts about the uncontrollable nature of being a human child who can only survive based on the knowledge bestowed upon each individual. All these things are diverse. Someone's knowledge about how to survive if they're coming from the Congo in Africa is completely different than someone who has to survive in China. All diverse. Someone in China, the knowledge that they got is different from now if it was the 1930s or the 1800s. Same with America. The knowledge we get here from anyone, the influence in the United States, completely different than the knowledge you would get from the Civil War to right now. We're influenced by everything, no matter where you're at. There's people who have split diversity. I can speak for that, where you're not in one place for your entire childhood and you're moving around from place to place. All influence, different circumstances, none of them premeditated for the most part. All of them highly impactful when it comes to your life. All inside of that is laced with potential excuses as well. We can sit here and say that these things are fair, but in reality, fairness has nothing to do with it. The world does not owe any of us understanding. The world does not owe any of us understanding of how we got to be who we are in the moment we are now. The next breath that you draw, you can make all the excuses in the world, but in this moment, you are here now. Which means in this moment, you can change practically everything about your mindset if you wanted to. And then execute it with discipline. Put it into action. Take the words and make it reality. Take the thoughts, make them reality. Take the desire, make it reality. Take the purpose, make it reality. Otherwise, there's no journey. What is the point of being born without the journey? Let's go back to that utopian tree theory. I use this a lot in the Brave Never Fall because I think it hits home better than a lot of the other theories that I have when it comes to the purpose of our lives and the purpose of journey and why something like charisma is so damn important when it comes to developing who we are and how we are perceived in the world by others, and why we're not allowed to use the word fair and unfair when it comes to the understanding the world gives us based on what we have or we don't have. The utopian tree. The utopian tree is, in case this is your first time hearing about this theory, I'll go over it again. The utopian tree theory that I came up with was that the whole point of life is that you need to keep moving. You need to keep mobilizing. You need to keep moving along the journey. What you do on that journey can be stapled with things that will prepare you for it, like a tank on its tracks. The wheels are turning, but there's a foundation there. And then there's a foundation underneath that to keep everything moving. So your purpose is directly tied into how you're moving in life, not how you're standing still. And too often people get comfortable. They believe everything's good. They believe this is enough. And you know what? I'm going to stop because this is a good spot. Wherever I'm at right now, this is as good as this is the mindset. This is either as good as it's going to get, or I don't need it to be any better. I don't trust that this is going to get any better. So this is the best spot. I'm going to stop. Now let's just take that theory and put it into a tree. You have the best looking tree you can imagine on top of the most beautiful hill you can imagine, overlooking the most beautiful valley you can imagine, underneath the most beautiful sky and weather that you can imagine. And this tree is thriving. There's no other trees around it to suck up the sunlight. It's getting perfect rainfall. It's up on the hill. We can see everything. Until one day, here comes a person with an axe. And they're desperate. They need firewood. They could go down the valley and cut down trees, but they're looking right at you. Why? Because you're sitting up there exposed. Completely exposed underneath the sun. They know that you've been sucking up all that good rain. You're beautiful. You're going to make some really good firewood. And you're going to make his family really, really happy. They come and they chop you down with purpose. They chop you down with purpose. Then after that, they're not done because they can't just take a whole tree in the house. So they got to chop you up in little pieces. Then they're going to drag you to the house and they're going to set you on fire. That's the utopian tree theory. If you take that, now it's an extreme theory, but if you take that as a person, that's kind of what happens when you continue to stay still and you get too comfortable in life. And there's a difference between saying you want to take on unnecessary struggles and obstacles in your life because you want to get better at something, and unnecessarily putting yourself through trials that you don't have to grow. That's up to each individual to decide for themselves. I personally like trials. I like challenges because I know I grow from them, and I know they make me stronger and smarter and better than the person next to me who is not going through these things, because life is going to make you go through them whether you like it or not. It's best to face them at a point where you're strong than face them at a point where you're weak. But there's a theory. Now, from that theory, I can make some positivity. I believe in making positive things happen out of negative situations. Out of that, if you want to get mythology based here, you can say that a phoenix rises from the ashes, and that's true. Just because you get chopped down, just because something happens, doesn't mean it can be regrown. That tree stump is still there, and potentially life can grow from that trunk, or something could happen from the roots that are still underneath. Who knows, right? We don't know. So I like to take a bit of positivity from negativity. But the point of the exercise and the mindset is this: standing still, not fulfilling all of who you are, is that good or bad? And that's just a question I would ask you, because only you could answer that. And that's what the whole thing about charisma intrigues me with, is that a lot of the charisma based things comes off choices that we make, and it's mindset based, and it's discipline based, and it's about how introverted or extroverted we are, and how we influence in life, who are the people we have around us, and what experiences have we had, how many times have we failed, what are our successes, what are we working towards, how old are we, where do we live. There's so many things, nuances that come into having great charisma. But I don't look at it as, because if you look at it as a style based thing, where there's people, they say in fashion, they say this person has charisma, but it's based solely on their attitude while they're wearing a particular outfit, or how good their makeup is, or what kind of car they drive, what kind of lifestyle they have. So, oh, look at their charisma. They have excellent charisma. Yeah, but they have charisma because there's material things aiding that. Where is the core charisma coming from? That's why I call it positive charisma. And that's charisma that you a butt naked standing in the middle of nowhere. What would your charisma be? Butt naked with no clothes, no car, no house, nothing. You still will have a level of charisma. So what would it be for you? Because a lot of people, myself included, we've all done it. We like to hide around and develop a personality based around things and places and people. But we can't have it both ways. That's hypocrisy. Because of the people out there who respect a level of understanding from who they are based on, hey, look, my charisma and my personality is like this, based on what happened to me in the past, then you can't hide behind, well, my personality and my charisma is the way it is right now, based on these things that I have. Like, what happens if they go away, though? Was your personality not genuine because your personality was greater because things were going good for you, and then all of a sudden your charisma and personality changes when things go a little bit sideways? Or is it constant? That means you have that butt naked healthy positivity where no matter what happens to you, you still have the same level of charisma. And no one or no situation, nothing could crack that, because it comes from within. It comes from a place that does not require material things and people and places. It's not enhanced by makeup and clothes and money and cars and houses. It's like that regardless if you lived in a hovel or you lived in a mansion. If you're quote unquote not the greatest looking person in the world, or you're the best looking person in the world, we all have a level of charisma. It's about answering the call for your life and how you're responding. I call it a shine, the positive, healthy, charismatic shine that people have. When we have all met someone who have no reason in the world to be shining and having full of charisma, and you would think they have the world, and they'll say, no, I'm homeless. I'm in between jobs. Haven't seen my kid in 3 years, and I have a lot of medical issues. But talking to them, if they didn't tell you any of that, you would think that they were completely the opposite direction of every single one of those issues that person was going through. I say that because we can't use circumstances as excuses to not have a positive mindset, to not still be able to work in your purpose. That doesn't mean you're walking around smiling all the time and you're kissing ass and you're being a people pleaser and a do-gooder all the time and you're just light and fluffy, because then that's an act. Because the range of human emotion is going to take you on a roller coaster ride. And I can say that. I'm a genuinely happy person, but there are times where I'm like, okay, naturally, if I fall into a mode where I'm like, okay, I need to be more focused, there's still charisma there. I haven't lost anything. I'm focusing it on my purpose. My purpose is allowing me to surrender to it. It's not allowing me to surrender to being fake and disingenuous with my personality because other people expect differently of me. Like the person I was just saying with the issues. People expect you to be like, I don't know how you're smiling. I don't know how you're laughing through this. It's like, okay. But there's a lot of rich people out there who are stressed out and feeling the exact same way as the homeless person is. Why? Because it has nothing to do with the material things. It has nothing to do with the cars and the money, or lack thereof. It has something to do with what's stirring up and what's going on inside. And are we able to maintain who we are and surrender and trust that our charisma and who we are is aligned with everything else in our life? That we don't have to worry about people thinking we're disingenuous with our personality. We're not being judged. We don't have to worry about that. We're aligned with the right things in our life, which allows us to surrender to everything in our life if it's positive. That's where the difference lies. That person who is homeless and hasn't seen their kid and they have the medical issues, they're surrendering to the situation, doing the best they can with what they have. That's hard for a lot of people to identify with. And not only that, it's hard for people to go through it if they're not prepared for it and haven't done the homework prior, and expect people to come and dig them out of holes that they probably got themselves in the first place. Because again, we can't just blame circumstances and situations on other people. We have to take accountability and ownership over what we've done and make the best decisions with that. If there's a job to be done and you're obligated to do it, you have to do it. But it's a choice. You didn't have to take the job in the first place. There's always a choice. Even with the families we choose. At a certain age, you have a choice to stay with that family or leave. We can't blame them for why we want to leave. We can use it as something we can fall back on and say, these are the experiences I had in my life. But after a while, the excuses run out. And we have to say, okay, those experiences are over. I'm here now. What am I going to do? I don't have to be a victim in life. This is what makes people who are charismatic special people. The ones who are really, really charismatic and they can take all this stuff and they lead with it. They don't hide it. They don't pick and choose. It's just who they are. These people tend to be not, and this is the thing about charisma. That doesn't mean that these are the nicest people you're going to meet in the world. A lot of these people have ambition. They're direct. They're assertive. They don't have time to mess around. It's a charisma of, hey, how you doing? This and that and the other. And I'm going to keep it moving. There's that word again. I'm going to keep it moving. Some people don't like that. Some people might call that being an asshole. Other people might say, hey, I like that. This person has drive, determination, they're living in their purpose. They seem to be happy with what they're doing because they're keeping it moving and stand in line with who they are. And guess what? That's perfectly fine if the person didn't understand that. Because that means you're not in alignment with that person. And again, it always goes back to alignment and purpose and what your morals are. Not every person who's charismatic is going to be liked by someone. That doesn't mean you should shy away from it. That just means no matter what you do, people are going to look at you a certain way and they're going to make their own determination based on who they are, what their experiences are, how they've been influenced. Charisma is charisma. We all have a unique version of it. I like the version of charisma that is more positive. The one that basically is just keep it moving, because that is more positive. Because we can't save the world. You can't stop and have a 3-hour conversation with every person you meet. So yeah, we do as human beings. We only have so many hours in a day. We only have so many hours in a lifetime. We have to pick and choose our moments. We have to understand, how am I spending my time? And who am I spending it with? Is it valuable? Am I wasting my time? And some people, you can't waste your time with certain people. You're not aligned with them. They're not offering anything. They're disingenuous. They're being fake. They're being hypocritical. They're playing victim. You can choose to spend time with them, but you also have the choice not to. It always comes down to a choice. It doesn't matter in the long range scheme of things. It really doesn't matter what other people think about who you are. Because like I said, we all have a level of charisma when we're growing up, and we're all influenced, and we have families, and we have all these situations that come around. People are going to have roller coaster rides of emotions. So why wouldn't you have a roller coaster ride somewhat of charisma? But I think, it's that attractiveness. It's that willingness to have enough clarity within yourself to know that you are valuable. And because, again, going back to when we're younger, if we as children are being influenced by the outside forces, that means we have the ability to influence other people at a young age. See how that works? Yes, you were influenced as a child, but now you're in a position as an adult to influence said child. What does that mean as far as responsibility goes for who you are? If you go into a marriage and you have 3 children, you're influencing those children. So how many excuses are we going to make? We have a responsibility, an inherited responsibility to lead in some way at some point in our life. Even the most introverted, reclusive person in the world has the ability to lead through not leading. Again, I call it action through inaction. If you do nothing, that is still action. That is just basically the utopian tree. You're comfortable. It's all about what you're going to do with who you are. Which is why I think the people who are the most charismatic and are positive, healthy people, they are leaders. They are people who want to influence. They're aware that they are influencing, and they want to do it in a positive way. It makes those people more attractive. Not talking just physical looks, because it is a physical thing too. Charismatic people, it physically makes you more attractive. People are naturally drawn to you. People want to be around you. Why? Because they know that you're just being yourself. You're genuine. You're not judging. You're living in your purpose. You have good morals and principles. You're positive. Good charisma means all of that. You're answering the call. But you're also direct, and you're assertive, and you know what you want. That you have set healthy, visible, healthy boundaries for yourself. Makes it hard for people to try to screw you over when they know that you're cut from a certain cloth. And despite all that's happened to you up until that point, if they happen to know your history, you are this person. When you have no business being this person in a lot of these people's eyes, because they think, if that was me, I would have crumbled. Or vice versa, if that was me, I would have done better. It's all judgment. It's all judgment. But it gives us power. Empowerment, I should say. It's empowering to know that, yes, we were influenced when we were younger, and now we have the power to influence the right people in a positive way, by leading by example, by not being negative all the time, by smiling, by being positive, by understanding and living through discipline and getting the things we want and not making excuses. Excuses and victimhood and all those things, those are viruses to charisma. And I've seen people who have had very vibrant charisma, because again, it's all about influence and how you react to things. They have a couple things happen to them and their shine dims. And all of a sudden, these people are, like I said in the introspection, they have a dark cloud over them. But once they were just as vibrant and as charismatic as people I've ever seen. And life has just taken them and injected them with excuse after failure, after excuse after failure, after disappointment, and they succumb to the weight of all that because there was nothing there that they stood firmly enough on to make sure that the foundation didn't crack. They allowed too much of the past to dictate where they are now in the moment, and it blinded them for where they could be in the future. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We can only see so far. That's where trust comes in. That's where the positivity comes in. That's where the phoenix rising from the ashes comes in. These are all mindsets. These are things that you can learn. But who we are inside and why we do the things that we do all contribute to that attractiveness and to that empowerment and to people treating you a certain way. You treat people with respect, you're gonna get respect back most of the time. And the people who do not offer you respect, if you're on a nice foundation, those people are done for you in your life. If you can help it. Again, we can't get rid of everyone. We have obligations and family members and co-workers and people we have to navigate through, but we can certainly protect who we are at our core, because that's our birthright. If you have a genuine core and you have genuine purpose and genuine positivity and genuinely positive outlook on your life and the trajectory, no matter how long it is, we let people get in our ear and they tell us you should have done this already, and you did that too fast, and you should have made this decision. Shoulda. But you ask them, okay, well, if it's so easy, why aren't you doing it? Because a lot of people who say that stuff, they're not doing shit, but they want to tell you how to do it. The people who are doing it are too busy doing what they're doing to be telling you what you could be doing better, what you screwed up on. They're too busy focused on what they're doing. It's the people who, I hate to say it, but it's the people who play victim. I don't like to talk negatively about people. That's why it's harder for me to say it sometimes. But the people who are constantly making excuses about their failures, and they want people to understand what it feels like, so they're going to tell you what you should have done better and what you could be doing better. And if you try to give them, they may come to your advice and then get upset about the advice that you give them. These are people that have a lot to figure out in life. They haven't gotten to the point where they can say, the world does not owe me understanding. I am not a victim. I'm focusing too much on the negative, and I'm projecting. I'm also being very hypocritical because I don't want this done to me, but I know I'm going to do it to someone else tomorrow, and I'm going to do it anyway. What level of charisma do you think that is? It's about accountability and ownership. It's about human decency. It's about civility. It's about knowing who you are. And it's about making sure that if you're going to be living in your purpose, then do that. Put the energy into yourself and stop putting it into other people who aren't asking for your unsolicited advice and your critiques and your judgments. And the people who are out there and they're charismatic, they're going after it. They're getting done what they need to get done by any means necessary, and they're surrendering to it. It's not always about a focus on money and relationships and people and all the things you can get out of life that, quote unquote, what we see on social media and what we see on television and all the prior stories that comes through our lineage in life, as far as our families go, can't judge ourselves on any of that stuff. We can only judge ourselves on what we're doing now, and we have to hold ourselves accountable for what actions we're doing right now. Pointing at the television and saying, they said that I should be here because I did this. That's not the television's fault. It's not the people on the television's fault. That's your fault. You haven't gotten to where you want to be at. And if it's not working, you have to go back to the blueprint and start recreating a new blueprint. The things we want in life are not guaranteed. That's good charisma. That understanding of just because you want something does not mean you're going to get it or you even deserve it. The world is not always understanding, and we don't ultimately get to wake up and get something for nothing. Just because we go to school for 4 years in a university does not mean you're going to exceed in that career once you get out. They're just saying you did the prerequisite work. Now you got to go prove that you can make it in this field. You don't graduate in university and get a guaranteed job for the rest of your life. If you're in a relationship, after you get married, you don't get to say, well, I'm married now, I don't have to do anything else. You're dating someone, you don't get to do that. You always have to be putting in the work. You always have to be mindful no matter what's going on in your life. If you choose to have people in your life and things in your life and places in your life, there's an obligation for you to make sure that you are cultivating and growing those things, not letting them turn into utopian trees. Or you are turning into a utopian tree and you're saying, hey, where are you going? And they're like, listen, I'm mobilizing. I got stuff to do. I want to be a part of this, but my path didn't end on the top of that hill. My path is over there where that mountain is that I need to climb. And over that, I got a volcano to climb. And I want to climb it because it's part of who I am. I can't run from it. I can't hide from it. I can't do any of it. I can be afraid of it. I can dread it. I can be scared of it. It's still in front of me. And I can't stand here with you and just remain dormant. That is the difference between people with charisma and people with a lack of it. Because charismatic people inspire others. And it's part of being in relationships is that you're supposed to be inspiring the person that you're with. Leading by example with who you are. It doesn't mean the person has to mimic you. It just means you're leading with all the great qualities of who you are. That's what good charisma is all about. It's not about mimicking someone else and picking up, hey, this person did this and this person. No. It's finding the best parts about who you are, growing that, and making sure other people are influenced by the best things of you. There's nothing wrong with people being influenced by the best of who you are. Because there's no expectations of it. You're not forcing it down anybody's neck. You're leading by example. And if it's a good example, people will follow suit. That's what powerful people do in this world. That's what charismatic people do in this world. That's what people who are positive and they're successful, that's what's going on there. What successful person isn't a leader? How many charismatic people you see that aren't leaders? You look at some of the most popular people in the world through this social media stuff. What's going on there? Their personalities, their charisma. Hate it or love it, they are who they are. And the people who align with them, they align with them. That's why we call fans fanatics. It's short for fanatics. One group of people are fans of this person, another group of people are fans of that person. Put them all in the same room, none of them get along. We all align with the people that we want to lead us and mentor us and counsel us, and the people we aspire to take traits from. There's something we identify in that person that we truly align with, for better or for worse. And we can't judge what people are drawn to. That's up to them to decide. As long as they're not maliciously hurting anyone, I could care less. Because we should be too focused on what we're doing. We need to focus on our purpose. And if we are influencing people, if we've chosen to have people in our lives, we want to be in relationships, we have to understand how we are. We need to be genuine. We can't live through hypocrisy. We can't be fake and disingenuous and try to turn it on and off, because that's a chore. That's not discipline. You don't turn discipline on and off. It's just on. Be disciplined about your purpose. The charisma is going to shine through. Positivity. Stand away from drama. Not being a utopian tree. These are all things that we do as a collective, I would say pretty well for the most part. But it all starts with the individual. You are influencing someone right now. What's your role? Pledge with me. I am the strongest person I know. I am alive for a reason. I pledge to stand on my values. I pledge to set and reinforce healthy boundaries. I pledge to keep pushing forward. I am not a victim. I am not without purpose. I pledge to continue to create the life I want. I pledge to grow beyond my current self. I pledge to commit to myself unconditionally because I am the strongest person I know. I will always be the strongest person I know. I pledge to continue to create and, if need be, recreate the blueprint of my life. I pledge to accept and face any challenge and obstacle that comes my way because I am the strongest person I know. I pledge I will remain who I am here and now and going forward because I am the strongest person I know. This is your day. You are here now. These are your moments. You own them. You are brave, bold, powerful. You do believe in yourself. You know you have more in the tank. You know the glass is half full. There's still more room for improvement. There is no end. Believe, believe, believe in yourself. Trust yourself. Trust that you can do whatever it takes to accomplish whatever you want from life. You don't procrastinate. You don't embellish. You don't lie. You are true to yourself always. Knowledge is in your mind. Peace is in your heart. Balance is in your body. Purpose is in your soul. You are greatness. The sky is not the limit. You have purpose, fulfilling, intentful purpose. You are here for a reason. You are unique. You are self-love, self-discipline, self-respect, self-control. You have self-awareness. You are joy, peace, and happiness. You are freedom, and yet connected to every person, place, and thing in the universe. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Learn, laugh, and level up.